And we are live. I'm here with Stevie Ray. You've just gone blackout on us, Stevie.
Uh, oh, I don't know what happened there. Sorry.
Back in the
Uh,
room.
will it be? Is it live on social media? I was going to try and share the.
Yeah, so it's live right
Um,
now. It's live on Facebook, it's live on Twitter, and it's live on YouTube.
I, I, I was going to say I could try and share it, but I'm scared that I end up actually losing
What an
it.
introduction. Well, welcome, Stevie. I was so excited to do this because I wanted to tell you firsthand from me, congratulations on two amazing performances over, a legend in MMA, Anthony Showtime Pettis. Like, you just pulled two back-to-back performances like that over him. Incredible.
Thank you. Yep. Yeah, I know. I had to remind myself a few times, like when I was fighting him, just to try and remain calm and almost forget about his status.
Yeah,
On how because I'm a fan of his myself as well. So yeah, a couple of times, even in New York when he was walking in front of me, we're walking to the venue. I'm thinking, fuck, that's Anthony Pettis kind of thing.
yeah.
Like, yeah, and then standing across the cage from him.
How do you switch off and treat it as just another opponent? How do you stop yourself going to that kind of fanboy mode?
Well, the second time was a bit easier because I'm like,
Yeah,
well, I've already beat him. I know I could beat him again. The first time as well, like it's weird. Some parts, sometimes I was like, like a big fan, especially when I seen him
yeah,
in person. But yeah, like I knew, like before I'd even seen him in person, like I just believed that I could win.
yeah,
I always remember watching him, even as a fan, like thinking that because of his style, I think I would have been able to beat him. Because
yeah,
again, he's known for like being quite flashy and all the um yeah, like all the flashy stuff, fancy stuff, rather
yeah,
than having like a solid fundamental game. Um, so yeah, and then obviously with my work ethic this past two fight camps, like I trained martial, so
yeah.
I had a lot of confidence going into both those fights just purely because how hard I had trained.
Well, talk to me about the first fight because you knew that you had to get a finish in, was it under 12 minutes 21 that you had to get it?
Uh, yeah, roughly like 12 minutes 34 seconds, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay. Yeah. But, like, how much
Yeah,
pressure does that put on, and like, obviously it changes the game plan loads because you can't just leave it to a decision.
to be honest, I feel like it was less pressure. I feel like it was better for me. Like, I feel like I've gave some fights away before, coasting, and almost like even the commentators have said to like obviously watching the fights back, I hear the commentators saying it almost looks like Stevie's coasting, like
Mm.
just not even out of second gear. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, and I think I have like I remember fighting Cajun Johnson, just he was running loads, and I'm just like. I felt fine, and then before you know it, like it's the end of the round, and then I lost a split decision. So yeah, I quite liked to know, right, you've got to put them away within 12 and a half minutes. So it just gives you that wee bit more, even though you're always trying to put your opponent away,
Of
really. But
course. Yeah.
sometimes I've went into a fight just thinking, as long as I win, who cares if it's decision, especially in the UFC when you know that your job's always on the line,
Yeah.
coming off a loss or whatever. So I liked it. Just go in, try and finish him. A decision win wouldn't have been. Yeah, I would have been happy with a decision win, obviously, like still happy I've just beat Showtime Pettis, because I remember saying that to myself. I remember saying like, even if you beat him, it's big, it's massive. You
Yeah,
just beat a former world champ, and but I remember thinking like, obviously, if I get the stoppage, then it's even bigger, because then I'm back in the mix,
yeah,
and it's like making a
100%.
statement as well, yeah. So
Definitely. And I've read a post where you said that you'd seen from the way that he escapes that he was open to that modified twister and that you've hit it a ton of times in the gym. Was that in the back of your mind that that was going to be there at some stage?
yeah, so I had watched some of his fights, obviously seen that he escapes the back that way.
Mm,
I mean, a lot of people escape the back that way as well, but he's been quite successful with against high level opponents. I'm sure he done it to Dustin Poirier and actually injured his rib though. He done
yeah.
it to Nate Diaz, and yeah, and a few other people. But it was actually my teammate Kieran that point. Well, I'd kind of seen it, but he brought it to my attention better. He sent me a couple of clips on YouTube and basically said, he's like, by the way, you'll be able to hit that twister on him, because obviously I do that in the gym. It wasn't
Yeah.
just like something there. Again, I had been landing it quite a lot recently as well. I mean, I finished Craig Ewers on Polaris with the same
Yeah.
move. Uh, and there's two kind of different ways that I can hit. It's either when they come up on top of you and it looks like they've actually just escaped and they're now in your guard, or when you force it and they're still kind of on, like you're still kind of on the back. So like I said, he brought it to my attention that wee bit more, and sent me the clips, and then before you know it, I was on his back, and I was like, should I try it? I remember thinking like, maybe he's better than I think, and he will escape it. But yeah, then when he escaped and obviously ended up on top, I kind of knew it was over. Um,
So how
the,
much of
the,
a
the,
share
the,
of the $1 million is Kieran getting for sending you that footage?
I owe him anyway. The funny thing is, the second fight, he sent me another one. He's like, by the way, he's like, I've found something else you can do off the twister. Um, it was like some sort of barata plata, from that position. It was way more complicated. So I was like, oh, that's going to take a lot of drilling, and I think it's a lot more risky for MMA. So I didn't bother even
Going for that.
looking too much into it either.
Talk to
Um,
me about how different the game plan was for the second fight, because obviously you knew. Well, actually, first of all, I want to ask if you heard anything that he said in between the fights, because he didn't actually say that he let you win the first one, but he pretty much said that he knew he was in the semi-finals anyway, and he did, whatever happened, like he
yeah.
just, you know, that result didn't matter. It was all about the second fight. Did you hear any of that beforehand? And I mean, I wasn't surprised because he needs to build a narrative in his own mind about why it happened and why it won't happen again. But did it phase you at all?
Well, the thing is, a lot of fighters and even sports people, they're always looking for like an answer to why they lost.
Yeah.
So I kind of get it. Like, it's true some of the things he's saying. He was guaranteed through. So the
Mhm.
fight, nobody wants to lose a fight anyway. I mean, but even if he lost, he was still qualified anyway. So I get what he's saying, but at the end of the day, once you're in the octagon and there's a guy standing in front of you, you're trying to win. I mean, he whacked me with some hard shots, and I just kept coming forward. Yeah, and I was the better man, obviously, on the first night. Managed to get the twister, and then yeah, the second time as well. Like, never quite got my cool wee finish, but um, yeah, got the win, and then obviously I think he said that he's broke his hands, but
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think he's just purely making excuses because I think he'd accept that like he just wasn't the better man on the night or
Yeah.
both nights. I was the better guy, and because really I don't know when he broke his hand if he did, and if it is
Yeah.
definitely two or if it's a sprain or whatever. Like, is it an actual full break? I don't know, but. Whether he had two good hands or not, it wouldn't have stopped the takedowns. It wouldn't have
No.
stopped me being on his back and stuff.
And that's what won you the fight.
Yeah, that's it. And you know what? It's fighting. Like, there's not a lot of time I go into a fight like completely healthy. Usually,
Exactly.
I mean, I fought for about 3 years with two absolutely fucked knees.
Yep.
Um, and then right, go get mummy, go get mum, good girl. So wee one running through. But aye, and then usually there's niggles somewhere. To be fair though, touch wood, the last two fights I've been pretty like I know everybody says it like healthy and whatever, but aye, my body's been pretty good the last two fight camps, and I think that's all down to the yoga. Going to Bikram yoga at least once a week, it just helps stop my
Yeah.
body from breaking down.
And
Yeah,
maybe a
keeps
little
me.
bit of a break before these fights.
What's that?
Like maybe a little bit of a break from fighting, when you were in retirement for a short spell before you signed to PFL, like might have
Aye,
helped with
aye,
the
because
knees.
uh, maybe, but to be honest, I had a big, huge break and they were still bad. Even when I first started training again, they were still
Right.
bad. It wasn't until I really committed to doing yoga every week, 90 minutes of Bikram yoga. I go every Friday, and then occasionally I'll go an extra session. Because now, when I first started the Bikram yoga, I wasn't able to do a lot of the moves, and that's just the most simple ones, like sitting on your knees,
Yeah.
or down on your knees and then putting your bum on your heels. I could
Yeah.
never do that. Like full flexion of the knee, it would hurt me so much. And
Yeah.
that's obviously that's the position you need to be in if like you're doing jiu-jitsu, if you're in somebody's guard. Um, and I would struggle with full extension as well. Um, so my knees can never really fully straighten. But again, just for the repetitiveness of the yoga, now I've got pretty good flexion, and good extension as well.
That's amazing. You've
Uh,
just rehabbed it through that.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's still times where they're not perfect. They're probably not
Yeah.
anywhere near like a completely normal healthy knee, but I mean, when they were bad and I was fighting for about 3 years with bad knees, I would have to ice my knees almost daily. I've got a big special machine I got for the UFC as well that I was having to use either daily or weekly, and now I couldn't even tell you the last time I iced my knees. I didn't need to anymore. So
Amazing.
yeah,
I'm glad to hear it. I did wonder what they would be like having gone through two fight camps, but like really back to back. These fights were 6 weeks apart.
yeah, that's it. I've fought 3 times in 4 months. So
That's
yeah,
incredible. For
April
someone who's
20th.
come out of retirement, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's it. I that was one of the most overwhelming things, like getting that win there. I'm like, because obviously I was told 2.5 years ago, or it'll be almost 3 years ago now, that I'll probably never fight again, or I should never fight again,
Yeah.
and that I'm a big risk in making it to the fight and stuff because of my knees, and then the UFC departure, and then the visa issue and all of that, and it's just like I've just overcame it all, and aye, I've like I said, my third fight in 4 months, and I'm healthy. Like sometimes after a fight, I'm totally banged up, but
Yeah.
yeah, I could if I wanted to, I could start my fight camp today. Like, um,
Well, I'm
you know.
glad you don't have to. You got a bit of a break. I think, is it the 25th of November is the fight, is the championship fight,
So that's what I've heard, yeah, but it's just kind of rumours now. It's nothing's set in
and we
stone.
don't know where it
But
is yet, do we? Or do you know?
uh, it's meant. I think it's in Vegas, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah,
Amazing.
that's the rumor. 25th of November in Vegas, but um, yeah, I'm still waiting to get like concrete evidence before people start booking flights and that.
Yeah,
Um,
hold off just a little while
because
longer.
there, there was also rumors that it might have been in Abu Dhabi, but um, I'm thinking it is gonna be Vegas, like, but we'll see.
I'm sure you don't really mind where it's going to be. It's just, it must be incredible to get there at your first attempt. And just, what do you make of your opponent? I didn't know much about him before, like watching the PFL playoffs, but Olivier Aubin Mercier, what do you make of him, and what do you think of the matchup for the championship?
Yeah, he's I've trained with him before. We've sparred together. So not only trained, we've also sparred. We've rolled. Because obviously he's from TriStar.
Yeah,
Um, and yeah, I mean he's a good fighter. He's strong. He's big for the weight. Um, he's on a 5-fight winning streak with the PFL. I think he went. I'm sure he had about the same fights as me in the UFC, 11 or 12.
yeah,
Um, and pretty good record as well. I'm sure he's like 8-4 or 7-4, something like that. Um, yeah, pretty solid fighter. I mean, I'm sure all his last 5 wins have all been decisions. So he's a bit of a grinder. Just one of those horrible kind of guys that'll maybe do what he needs to win the rounds, but maybe never the
yeah.
most exciting.
Because,
So
like,
yeah,
I feel like this fight, because it's not just for the championship, which is huge, but it's also for $1 million, as everyone keeps saying. But I feel like that could almost be like a cup final in football, where there's so much pressure on because you both want it so badly, that it could be
yep.
quite a really testy, kind of nervy, patient, not a lot happening fight. What do you think?
Uh, I think once you're in there, all of that's going to be, yeah, it'll be on the subconscious mind, but it's not going to be on your entire like mind. You're just going to be thinking, there's a guy in front of me about to try and punch me in the face. I'm going to
Yeah,
punch him in the face. Because again, there's pressure in every fight. I mean, when I fought Pettis the first time, I needed to finish him. So that the pressure in that, um, then the pressure of fighting him again. Fighting somebody that you've already beat, but they've now got a chance to almost like get revenge on you,
wipe
or
it
because
out.
obviously,
Yeah,
yeah, that's it. Whereas it's a wee bit less, not motivating, but like less risk for or less worth it for me because I've almost like already beat him,
yeah,
and I've got to go and try and beat him again. But every fight is just the fact that there's millions of people watching, or thousands, millions, whatever. That they're watching, and you could get knocked out, you could get choked out. That's pretty nerve-wracking enough. Never mind the fact that it's for quite a bit more money in the title.
yeah,
Uh, but yeah, like I'm just gonna use it as I feel like I've got quite a good mental game. Like I'm very aware that everything that's going on in the head, like why it's there, and um, especially now compared to the start of my career. Like sometimes I would get so nervous that I didn't even want to be there. I'm like, I just cannot wait until this fight is over so I can have a normal life. So I've not got all this anxiety running through my head,
yeah,
the worry. Yeah, like that much pressure. I'm just like not enjoying it.
yeah,
You kind of enjoy it, but and then at the same time, you didn't enjoy the moment. You enjoy after it. When you're
yeah.
getting the win or whatever. But yeah, like that fight there, yeah, there's still obviously a bit of pressure, but I'm like, you know what? There's just some things that have changed in my mind that helps me get through all that sort of stuff. And a couple of them being like, one, I know that win, lose or draw, I come back to the most important thing in my life anyway, which is
Yeah.
being with my family. So being with my wife and my kids. So you know what? The worst case scenario is that I get knocked out, maybe, or submitted. I lose. I come home with, still getting paid and with my family. So that's the worst case scenario, and that's still good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and then everything else is a bonus. But just trying to not take it as serious and knowing that obviously that can happen. It's a fight game. And just more enjoying the moment. I'm like, you know what? I've got a huge opportunity here. I'm gonna enjoy it. Even just like being in New York, being in New York, I wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for the fight.
Headlining MSG.
Yeah, that's it. So it's like, I said that to myself. I'm like, if I lose, then I could still say I beat them the first time. It's like one each. I could still say I headlined Madison Square Garden, which is huge. Like some people only ever dream of that, and they'll never
Yeah.
ever make it to anywhere near that. Some of the stuff that I've done. So I just being proud of what I've done throughout my whole career, where I've came from, and how much I've achieved. And then it's just, sky's the limit. I'm still going, but
Yeah.
knowing that, aye,
I just
uh,
keep thinking if you hadn't come out of retirement, we'd never have had like this section of your career. It's amazing.
yeah. To be honest, like I've said a few times now, but I was never. I was never even really retired. Like I know I did retire, but I retired emotionally. Like I just went through the process with the UFC where I came off the biggest win in my career at the time against Michael Johnson.
Yeah.
I signed a new four fight deal. Happy days. I was just starting to get to making like real life changing money. And then next thing, there's this talk about you know, signing somewhere else and like the UFC asking for medical from an orthopedic, wanting clearance, and then I got that, I got the clearance, and then it was the next thing, like the visa issue, and it was just like, yeah, and then obviously when I did go as a free agent, it was COVID, so there wasn't, Bellator and all the other places aren't in a rush for signing fighters
Yeah.
when there's no even shows happening. I mean, it was to the point that shows are getting cancelled. UFC London got cancelled, that I was meant to fight on, and that's the only reason I took such a long break at fighting. Like, I'm sure it took a few weeks for me to realise that I'm not going to really retire. Like, I'm going to fight again.
Yeah.
But obviously, 2.5 years later is what it took for me to
Yeah.
actually make that. Um, and yeah, I
Peter
felt
said
it,
we
like
even
having the
did a
big break.
retirement show for you. We did do that interview.
That's
Stoomboy
just
said he remembers seeing the video when you announced your retirement. He was devastated for you. So glad you're back and at the top. And then we've got a
thank
couple of
you, thank you.
comments about your jiu-jitsu. Stevie won the last two awards for Stoomcast and the MMA UK BJJ show for his finishes against Paddy Pimblett in 2019 and then Craig Ewers in 2021. A great ambassador for Scotland. And
Thank you,
then
man. Oh,
Glenn says the twister is an absolute weapon. How did you pick that up in training and how often do you hit it rolling?
I hit it quite a lot, rolling. I mean, obviously, my training partners are getting more aware of it now. One of my students actually hit on me. I went and rolled after the first Pettis fight. I went and rolled at my gym at Braveheart, and one of my purple belts, just a new purple belt, Liam, big big, tall, flexible guy. Like real, he does stuff that just nobody else would be able to do because he's that bendy and long. And he actually done it from guard. He twisted me from guard.
Wow.
So yeah. So I was in his guard. He's got that
Yeah.
long legs. He done a body triangle from guard, and then put the body triangle hook as a butterfly hook, like so on the inside, and then twisted me. And literally, like I had to tap, like yeah. So he got me with that. And aye.
I bet he
So
felt
it
good.
was yeah, I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm never going in the gym with an ego anyway to like no tap to someone like
Yeah.
that. But it was a legit, move where I had to tap. Um,
Well
but
done,
yeah,
Liam.
the reason I first got it hit on me when I was in Randy Couture's gym, Extreme Couture in Vegas.
Yeah.
Be a good few years ago now. Someone was on my back. I tried to escape, thinking I had escaped. It was MMA sparring. So I've escaped, went to start landing punches, thinking I'm in guard, and then next thing I'm tapping to this pain in my spine. And then I asked him after it, and he said it was like, you know, a variation of the twister, a kind of different twister. And yeah, since then I stole it.
I wonder
Um,
if he was
uh,
watching your fight and thinking
yeah,
I was the one who showed him that.
yeah, I can't even remember if this guy will remember or like I can't. I'm sure he was like a skinny guy and had long hair. I'm sure, but yeah, I can't really remember. I don't know his name or nothing, but
Well, thanks to
cool if he
him.
was though. Yeah, that's it.
Hopefully he was watching. But
That's it.
um I wanted to ask you as well, like how surreal kind of this feels after there was that time, like I want to say, was it 2017 where you fought on the last fight of your UFC contract, and like your management at the time had advised you to do that, and they hadn't really told you that you might not get re-signed if you did that,
Yep.
and you had months and months kind of not knowing whether you were going to get re-signed to the UFC. I wasn't doing
Yep.
interviews at the time, but I remember being on all the posts like a little fangirl, like Dana tagging Sean Shelby, like get Stevie Ray a fight, get him back in there.
Yeah.
And then obviously
I'm.
you signed with Ali and you got another deal. But it
Yep.
must feel mad to have been like you were talking about going back to like a normal job then, or like having to provide another way for your family.
Well, that's when I started Braveheart MMA. That's why
Yeah,
I've got still got the gym to this day. So. But yeah, like life, even just life. Like I was gonna say MMA career, especially MMA. There's a lot of ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster. Like, you know, when you win, it's like the highest high. It's the highest of highs. It's not even like winning a football game or because it's just you really. And yeah, your coach and stuff, but there's such a small. Um, it's not like as much as it is a wee bit of a team thing. It's kind of individual as well.
yeah,
But yeah, just like when you lose, it's devastating. You're depressed. It's almost like humiliating. And when you win, the highest of highs, you feel amazing. And then especially the way MMA pays guys as well, because the way no every time you can get like a set wage, but most of them are like doing. You get half if you lose, and you get double if you win. Like
yeah.
the standard UFC contract, the first
Show and
fight is
win.
10 and 10. So you get
Yeah,
$10,000 to fight to show up, and then you get an extra 10 if you win. So yeah, and I kind of keep it like that, it builds up 20 and 20
yeah.
and whatever else. But so aye, that's obviously a big kind of part of it as well. But um,
But
aye.
back then you weren't even sure whether you were gonna kind of fight for the UFC again or fight at that level again. And now here you are on the brink of, well, it is $1 million fight.
You know what though? Like I think in life, like. because that fight was when I fought Paul Felder.
Yeah.
And he caught me with the knee from the clinch, and that was like the start of the end kind of thing. That was, I was fighting an autopilot after that. He
Mm.
eventually knocked me out with an elbow, but it was the knee that done the damage. I mean, I didn't even know where I was when he hit me. It's just autopilot, I'm just doing what my muscle memory knows what to do. Because I'm sure I was trying to do a reverse De La Riva back take. And just because I would normally do that in jiu-jitsu, no the best for MMA because you're leaving your face open, which I
Yeah.
did to a big elbow to the chops. But I like at the time that manager, yeah, I mean he was saying obviously fight out your contract to get more money if you
Yeah.
win, but I never knew at the time that if I
The
lose
downside.
there's a potential that you're not actually going to get signed. I just thought it would be less money
Yeah.
if I lost, and it maybe was. Maybe the UFC just made me sweat a bit. Maybe they were always going to sign me. I didn't know, but what I do know is that obviously I signed with Ali, and he said that he will get me back to the UFC. He's got a good relationship with the UFC, and that's one thing I could say about Ali. I mean, he's obviously got a lot of different comments and opinions. People have different
Mm.
opinions of him, but the one thing that nobody can deny is the fact that he's such a good manager, and he's always good to the fighters. I mean, it was him, like, he got me back to the UFC. That maybe this wouldn't have all happened if he never done that. And then also, it was him that obviously got me this PFL deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, props to him.
James Doolan said, "Where's his CD?"
I'll tell you that story today. But before I forget, that's what I was getting to. So like the bad things and like me getting knocked out in Scotland was obviously rubbish, devastating. But if that never
Yeah.
happened, I wouldn't have my gym along the road. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's been downsides to having the gym at times, like when I'm focusing on a fight and I've been having to coach and fight, and yeah,
Yeah.
it can be a nightmare. Like to they say it's hard or impossible to be a great coach and a great fighter, but I've done a no bad job of building a team, and then also, I'm still doing well. I mean, lately what I've done is I've just went and stayed in higher level at the gym, so I've not got all these distractions, and I've got such a quality bunch of guys at Braveheart um that have been taking care of things. So I've not been in the gym coaching basically this whole year.
Yeah.
Um, and they're just kind of all working with each other a little bit. I've got some of the coaches, certain guys like doing coaching and helping out, and I like obviously I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing if it wasn't for these guys helping out as well.
Shout out to
Um,
them.
yeah, that's it. And like I said, I'm glad that I've got Braveheart because a lot of fighters, and professional athletes, they do their whole career and then when it's done, they don't know what to do, and it's sometimes
Yeah.
hard to build someone when you're retired because like you're not as important anymore. So it's good to build it up while you're actually still in the limelight, if that makes sense. But aye, um, on the CD thing, well, we went to Times Square in New York. Um, There's loads of things are going on, all the big screens and stuff, and these guys came up, and I've stopped. James knew because he's been to New York before. I think he knew what was going on. He just kept walking, but I started speaking to the guy, and I thought he was just being sound. Like, here's one of my CDs. Uh, here's one of my CDs. Have a listen to it if you want. So I just took it. Next thing, he's whipping out a signed one. He's signed it. He's like, right here, and then he was giving me the spiel like, so we're not selling these, but we do ask for like a donation, to know how got. He's like, I've got family to feed and blah blah blah. The whole spiel. He was saying, I think he said roughly $20 a CD or 100 if you're rich, he said. Luckily for me, I only had $7 in my wallet. I only had $7 in change, and I was like, mate, I've only got $7, and he was like, no, I can give you change. Like, started like being quite forceful and opening my wallet. He's like, I can give you change for the 20. I was like, what 20? There's
Is
no
this
20 there,
before or
pal.
after the fight?
This was after the fight, I think. Yeah, it was after the fight. And then James has come and help me. And like be like, Stevie, let's go, because then these other guys were giving me CDs, and I was like, I've only got
Oh,
$7. So he took $7, gave me the CD, and then these other guys are trying to give me them and get money.
here's
And
a
then I think
sucker.
I, I, even though James knew it was a pure scam, he still gave them about 25 quid, just to get them away, because they were being quite aggressive, to the point I thought there was going to be another fight,
I bet
and it
they
was
were like, "Oh
James's
my
fight.
God, isn't that the guy whose face is on the front of Madison Square Garden?"
Well, no, me though. I think James was ready to do them. Oh, there was a few times, like, New York is quite a rough place.
Yeah, I've
Every
heard it's
day we
got a
went
lot
out.
worse recently as well.
Oh, it was like I've stayed in a few rough places, and it was pretty rough. Like, every 5 minutes there was, somebody absolutely out their face on drugs,
Yeah.
shouting, summon, and it was quite rough.
Well, glad you lived to tell the tale. Imagine getting through the fight and then ended up getting pasted by these guys giving out
I
CDs.
know, and that was right before it. We got a free Starbucks because one of the workers in Starbucks recognized me. He was like, "Were you not just fighting last night? You just fought and you beat Pettis, didn't you?" And he was totally like being a fanboy or whatever. And
Is that
he
that
got,
must be so cool? Like somebody in New York, like
yeah,
just in Starbucks, just randomly seeing you and recognizing you. That must be so cool.
yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, so we got a free coffee. And I got like a caramel frappuccino, and James got a drink as well. We walked out drinking a free drink, feeling cool, and then paid about 30 quid for two CDs that we never even, it's
I didn't
probably
know
not
that
even got
anyone
music
could
on
feel cool with a caramel frappuccino in their hand.
it.
Craig
Fantastic
Higgins said,
highlight reel.
"Yeah, fantastic highlight reel recently, mate."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then,
that's it. It was Craig that made it. The highlight was
ah,
quality.
and
The highlight was
Stoneboy said,
cool. Like,
"You, you, Braveheart is an awesome gym with a lot of great talent."
thanks, mate. Yep. On the jiu-jitsu side of things, I mean, within the next probably a couple of months, there's going to be I'm going to have, what will I have? One, two, got to have a few brown belts. I mean, I've got a couple of purple belts that have been purple belts for like 8 years.
Yeah,
Obviously trained at other gyms before me. That are probably due their brown belts, and I've got another brown belt, Craig Harrower, who used to train elsewhere as well. And then I've got a lot of purple belts and stuff. I think I've got about 7 purple belts now as well. So, I mean, anybody that does BJJ or MMA will know that that's pretty decent, considering I
yeah,
only opened the gym in 2017. So, what, 5 years ago nearly.
yeah. It's incredible. So I'll leave it there with you. I just wanted to wish you all the very best for the championship fight in November. We think it is. I just want to know what it would mean to you to bring the belt back to higher level and to Braveheart, of course. But like you're one fight away from being our next British champion of the world. Like, it's a fucking incredible achievement.
Yeah, I think I was speaking about that, and I could be wrong because again, as much as I've done MMA for like 12 or 13 years, I'm still not the best educated on MMA. Like I didn't know a lot of fighters. I don't really watch it too often. And yeah, just with having 4 kids, you've never got
Yeah.
any time to be doing all that. When I first started training, I used to watch it all the time and stuff, but and then as folk will know, parent commitments and busy with life, I struggle to actually watch much of it. But oh, I can't even remember. I've totally sidetracked. I didn't even came up. I was going to say now. What was
I
I
was
going to
just
say?
asking you what it would mean to take the belt back to high level and to be the
Oh, aye,
the next
aye, that
British
was it. Sorry.
champion.
So I'm sure is Michael Bisping the only British fighter to win a world title in a
Well, I
major
guess we
MMA
got Liam
organisation?
McGeary in Bellator, but it was kind of before there was a proper Liam McGeary, I guess,
Right.
at Bellator as well. And but
So
Bisping
has
in
he
the
won
UFC.
he's won the Bellator world title?
He did, yeah. He's not champion anymore. But
Where's he from?
he's from like Kings Lynn in England.
England, right? He's English, right? So, um, aye. So second, third, there's no been many. So aye, it'd be cool to for Britain, and then also, pretty sure I'll be the first Scottish person to win a world. I mean, I've won the Cage Warriors world title, but I
Yeah.
didn't really count that as a proper world title, even though Conor McGregor does.
Yeah, I
He
think it
still counts
is.
the. Yeah, it's more a European kind of level, even though
I
it
guess
is
so, yeah.
worldwide, as in
Yeah.
it's worldwide with the fighters and stuff, but it's a European level.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
So
That's fair.
so if I obviously get this win, then I'd feel like it's a proper legit world title. Aye, and then obviously the $1 million will be a good bonus as well.
Do you honestly think you oh, this is another question in my MMA chat group. They said, do you reckon if they said to the guys you can split the prize money in half and not fight, or they just fight for no money and already agree to take half each, would you do it?
So sorry, would that,
So if
to
they
be
said to
honest,
you,
it's,
like, you got to fight and whatever, but if before the fight they said to you, you can take home 500 grand each, would you accept, or would you want to fight for the million?
to be honest, if Olivia and PFL said, let's just take 500 grand each, I probably would do that. Um, th- that's to still fight though, you mean? So we still
Yeah,
fight.
yeah, still fight,
Yeah, we still
but
fight. The winner
regardless
gets
of
the
whether
world
you,
title,
yeah,
but we
but
but we
both
get
of
half a
you get
million each.
500. Yeah,
To be honest, I probably would do that. And it's no because I'm not confident that I could win. It's just I know there is obviously a chance that I might not win. And to go home with the runner-up money that's nowhere near $1 million or even half a million. Plus, I like to try and no be greedy. There would be part of me that would feel a bit guilty about winning. And I know that sounds stupid, and people probably think, you're full of shit. But um, one thing in life that I've realised, like, money isn't that important to me. Like, family and stuff is. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, money definitely helps. It helps you be happy. It can definitely even make you happy if you've already got the other stuff. But money alone won't make you happy. Like,
yeah,
and I think it can got like there's been times in my career where I've had a lot of money in my bank, Um, and it's probably the most shittest my life was at the time. Like just things not getting on at home, and then I've been, skint and been happy. So it does definitely help, obviously having money, but it's not the be all and end all. And so I maybe would. I mean, it's a hard one because I I wouldn't be gutted if I'd accepted that deal and then won, and I'm like, oh, I have to give him that money because I'm just like, I think there's too many people that's got too much money in the world as well. I just feel like life should be a lot more balanced. Like rather than paying 10 billion to or 10 million to a lottery winner, just give 500 grand to 20 different people. And I know that gets hard. The more money you end up winning in life or making in life or whatever, the more money you want to spend. Like, and I think the more greedy you can get. I hope that
Yeah.
if I do win the million, and if I do make any other money after that, because I'm in the next season as well. So whether or no I win this season, I could also win next season as well. Um, but money can definitely change you. Whether you mean it or not, it can make you more arrogant, more. Uh, I mean, I hope I commit to it, but if I do win the million, I'm going to get a lot of it away.
Wow.
I'll pay off my house. I'll pay off my house. Maybe like try and pay off the mortgage or use some of it to invest in Braveheart. But I mean, I'd give my mum money to get a new house and whatever. And I'll not say too much to the new in case they come after me, asking for the money.
Yeah, can I
But
get that in
I
writing?
but I the way I see it, like charity starts at home.
Yeah.
I mean, so I'd like to like be good to my friends and family, and then like obviously other charities and stuff as well.
I find it hard to think of someone I'd rather win the million, Stevie. Like after following your career for such a long time and kind of feel like I really rode like the peaks and troughs with you and like really I really felt for you when you were waiting to find out whether the UFC were gonna have you back and like they were making you sweat for months and then you had all the crap with your knees and you thought you were never going to get through another training camp or make it to a fight again. Like it's so incredible to see you in this position and even though you say you don't need a lot of money, at some points in time, you're worried about providing for your family, and this can put you in a position where you literally can give it to who you choose. So I
Yep.
personally would love to see you win the full million, not even half of it. And I just wish you all the bloody best with it. It's I can't wait. I honestly can't wait to see what's next.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, obviously, I like money, and it definitely helps and stuff. But there's so many like people out there with money that there's billionaires depressed and that don't want to live and suicidal. I mean, look at Robin Williams.
Yeah,
Even when they've got everything in life, it's just finding happiness and I am happy that now. Like, again, yoga's got a lot to do with that as well. Like, not even the physical part of yoga, the spiritual and mental part of yoga. Just,
yeah.
um, I love what I do. I wake up, on a Monday morning. A lot of people are maybe depressed going to work. I'm going to my training. Like, I love doing it. And I'm happy with my family, my kids. So money will help, but it doesn't really change too much.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking about it. Is there anyone you want to say thanks to or shout out before we go?
I just thanks to all my sponsors. I mean, I've posted up the sponsor page, so If anybody wants to check out the people that support me, with supplements and like whether it's nutrition or cash or whatever, like it obviously helps a lot. These sponsors during the fight camps, my friends and family, my management, my coach James Dillon, obviously, and everybody at higher level, and just really like everybody I already thanked on social media. Just uh, anybody that's supporting me, tuning in, wanting me to win, whether it's just because I'm Scottish or you actually know who I am, or and then even all the haters, thanks to you as well. I know there's a lot of, I know in life, like, you got a lot of haters that they're gonna be so hoping I didn't win this million, but uh, and some of them are even, they'll say to your face that they're so hoping you win, and they aren't. But you know what? Because if it wasn't for haters, it's they people that kind of help motivate me to want to do it more as well, just so I could put the middle finger up and go fuck yous, because aye. But aye, thanks to everybody
Amazing.
that supported me.
Yeah, that's a great note to end on. Thank you so much for your time, Stevie. Wishing you all the best with the next fight camp and the fight. And I hope you'll come back on and tell me how you're spending your $1 million.
Hopefully, yep. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Take care.